Hi, I'm Rob, pastor of Calvary Chapel, Turlock. How do so many Christians miss the theological significance of modern Israel? The subject of Israel, past, present, and future, seems to be a dividing line for much of Christianity. There are two broad-based camps when it comes to understanding the Jewish state among Bible-believing Christians. Covenant theology essentially teaches that God is all finished with Old Testament Israel, and therefore the modern state that bears the same name is irrelevant, spiritually speaking. The other group of Christians is often consolidated under the title dispensational theology. They believe that Israel and the church are uniquely distinct from one another, and though God's primary focus is currently on the Gentile church, he will eventually turn his attention to ethnic Israel again. I recently heard a guy named Joel Webster from Right Response Ministries speaking on the subject. He made it clear that God divorced Israel in the Old Testament and is therefore all done with them. In fact, the New Testament church is now spiritual Israel, and all of the promises given in the Old Covenant are now realized by the church. He also insisted that the modern state of Israel is an abomination. Those were literally his words, and a mere creation of human scheming. This is fascinating because the vast majority of covenant theologians, they subscribe to a type of determinism, believing that God literally instigates all things. So how could a nation come back to life after roughly 2,000 years of exile, apart from the predetermined plan of God? If a sparrow cannot fall to earth, apart from the Father's notice, how could a nation of the same ethnic people form in the same land, reading the same scriptures, speaking the same language, and called by the same name? It's undeniably miraculous, although most covenant types don't believe in modern miracles. Ultimately, of course, Scripture should inform our understanding of the subject. Paul says in Romans 11:1 and 2, I say then, has God cast away his people? Certainly not. For I also am an Israelite, of the seed of Abraham, of the tribe of Benjamin. God has not cast away his people, whom he foreknew. Romans 11 is so helpful on this particular issue. God has not cast them away, and even more, he is planning to graft them back into the tree of righteousness again. He calls the Gentiles wild olive branches from an uncultivated tree, but Israel are the natural branches that were broken off because of disbelief. And yet, God will graft the natural branches back into the tree so that all Israel will be saved. Those are literally Paul's words in Romans chapter 11, verse 26. And that's why there is an Israel today. They have not yet been grafted into Christ by faith, but the foundation is being set. They're making aliyah from all over the world back to Israel with a population of almost 10 million now. And every day we get closer to Israel making the prophetic declaration, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. They will receive Jesus as their Messiah in his second coming, and they will be saved. How do covenant theologians miss this obvious fact from Romans chapter 11? My guess is that they have an a priori commitment to 16th century Reformed theology that was heavily influenced by Roman Catholicism. Medieval church leaders, often drenched in anti-Semitism, could not fathom the reconstitution of a literal Israel. Jeremiah 31 and Ezekiel 37 both speak of a revived Israel living in relationship with the Lord again. If your theology misses this fact and cannot explain the miracle of modern Israel, it's probably not a complete theology. It has failed the test of time. I would encourage every Christian to read their Bible and develop a scriptural theology that corresponds to reality. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.